Well,
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm just checking with the team. All right, I think we're live now. Perfect. Um, Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, evening, morning, whichever part of the world you're joining in. My name is Omkar. I am the Chief Strategy Officer and Product Officer over here at Supervity AI. Today, this day, I am extremely delighted to welcome Aaron Hand to our webinar on the autonomous enterprise. Aaron Hand currently serves as the Chief AI Officer at ArcelorMittal Downstream Solutions. Previously, he held senior leadership roles at UBS, at Holcim, and had a pretty illustrious career helping manufacturing companies, tech companies reach great heights with AI, with business intelligence. So, Aaron, lovely to have you. Welcome. I would like to, also get you a chance to introduce yourself a little bit more than what I did about the good work what you're doing at Arcelor before we kick off with a bunch of questions and answers.
Sure, no problem at all. Thanks a lot, Encore, for the invitation, and just a big welcome and thanks everyone who joined the call, actually taking time out to listen in to me and Encore chat away. From my side, yeah, so I'm Aaron Hand. I'm the Chief AI Officer of ArcelorMittal. For anyone who doesn't know, ArcelorMittal is the world's leading steel and mining company, present in over 60 countries, over 100,000 employees. And what we're doing at the moment in ArcelorMittal is it's revolutionary. We're looking at each process, and instead of just simply, I would say, just automating the task, we're now looking at how we can redesign, reinvent, recreate the tasks in order to make sure that as a company, we're ready for it's at the moment a very volatile steel market. We're all in a very volatile market at the moment, and having that capability from AI to adapt to that volatility is really where our core focus is at the moment.
Brilliant. So I wanna start off with a talent question, right? Because there are hundred
Sure.
thousand plus people working at
Yeah.
Arcelor. Finding talent has become increasingly difficult, and as you lead a team which is everybody within the group, within the
Mm.
company, is looking up to you that, hey, Aaron, we need a cutting edge AI solution.
Mhm.
How difficult is it to find and train this kind of AI talent? Are they do you have to upskill the current talent what you have
Yeah.
into AI, or how do you do it?
Look, I would say it's actually changed over the years. One thing that's core to ArcelorMittal is that we have a philosophy, a way of working that, in some ways, if we can get someone internal and train them up with the necessary skills, we know we have someone that has the right culture. Right
Hmm.
now, as we know, AI is changing so rapidly. We're still industry. We have an excellent R&D department who also help out with the training of people. Finding people, I would say the hardest bit now is finding people that have the hybrid talent. It's no
Hmm.
longer a case of maybe beforehand when we hired, we had a misalignment. We had data scientists maybe that had PhDs, right, were very good. But now it's all about velocity. So
Hmm.
can we find maybe more of an AI engineer? We have a lot of our models are pre-built. So
Hmm.
it's about how can they sit with the business and find out. So one thing we look for, which is core now, we look for an entrepreneurial spirit. So because in AMDS we're very business focused, and we try and put the AI there. Of course, we have a wide range of people that we have. So we take computer science degrees, Python
Hmm.
engineers, and then we try and skill them. If we find someone with the right culture, like we have a very highly skilled Python engineer, we'll then try and give them the AI skills. If we find someone from business that has a natural interest in AI, we will then maybe help with an agentic workflows, for example, low code, no code tools. We also have a large degree of. We take a lot of our data scientists from our R&D department. That's what we go for.
Hmm.
Um, so primarily, we try to build up within. We take a look inside. We have a you know, very clear career path for people. They can put
Yeah.
into their performance tool saying, "Oh, I'm interested in this area," and we will see to make it happen. If we can't find that skill, then we simply go out to the market and try
Mhm.
best candidate we can.
Mhm. Got it. I'm gonna basis of talent. I'm gonna ask you an interesting question over here. Personally, Aaron, for you, how
Yeah, sure.
different has been the chief AI officer role tag, the title,
Yeah,
different from the, let's say, a CIO or a head of business
head of,
intelligence
yeah,
role?
yeah.
Yeah. How is it any different, or is it just old wine, new bottle?
You get invited to a lot more chats, to a lot more webinars. No, it is actually quite, yeah, it is actually quite different because if you take it, so I report directly now to the CEO, so it's very different.
Mhm.
So if you take AI, okay, so an AI product or an AI solution, you will get different questions from different people. The CFO wants to know, okay, what's the capex, opex, IRR, how much should we save? The
Yeah.
CIO is when I reported into them. The first question was, okay, what's the risk? Where's the compliance?
Correct.
Where's the data? Right.
Yeah.
The CEO, the first bit will say, okay, how much revenue has it generated? Where's the new market? Where are we
Mhm.
growing? So, in that sense, the question has changed.
Mhm.
Um, in some ways, it's more liberating because you have
Yeah.
that focus a bit more on business. On the
Yeah.
other side, maybe patience is a bit less than with a
Yeah.
CEO who, as technically, they know,
Yeah.
where, let's say, we're having difficulty because the data is not correct and we're trying to get
Mm.
it correctly. Well, the CEO won't ask us about how the data is. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, have we hit this KPI? Has revenue grown in this market? How's our cash flow? How
Mm.
The question will be, how is AI changing the business model? And I think,
Yeah.
but what's refreshing, I think it's important to have AI at the C-suite level, is that you get it from top down. It's your first chance to actually put AI within the business model. It's no longer a
Yeah.
side project. It's no
Correct.
longer
Hackathon. We can.
a mini hackathon. Okay, we use them to gather the ideas, but now when we start off the year and we come up with our discussions, it's
Mm.
how can AI be the backbone of
Correct.
ArcelorMittal? How
Yeah.
can, and it takes a more of a forefront, and you just have
Yeah.
to be ready to answer that. And I say the other key difference and why we're so close and we work together with Supervetti is that velocity is a much bigger question now than it
Mm.
was a few years back, or even when I reported to CDOs or CIOs.
Yeah.
It was less about velocity; it was more about making sure that, okay, is every box ticked,
Yeah.
and now it's more of a case of, are we the first on the market? Can we get there?
Yeah. Perfect. So, Aaron, over here, when serious ROI is expected out of
Mhm.
the AI department, right? It's no longer managing risk or keeping the tech afloat. How do you identify processes? How do you weed out, this within the group, this within the company needs the magic wand of AI in order
Mhm.
to either accelerate, optimize, drive more ROI? Is there an approach what you currently take to identify which are these
Mm.
processes?
Yeah, we do. We have a what we call, we have a seven-step gateway that we go through, right?
Yeah.
If you want after, maybe I can share it
Yeah.
after. Let me know, okay? But one thing that we look at is that we know from a financial measurement which tools we have to use. 11 years in banking taught me well to calculate IRR and ROIs, but AI is a bit different now. We also have to have this like balanced value model. We're also
Mm-hmm.
saying, okay, if the IRR is plus 11%, then it's great. It looks like a positive project. But the
Yeah.
whole point of implementing the AI was to actually increase customers or maybe decrease customer churn. We want
Yeah.
to know, keep that there, grow in a new market. Um, a big thing in manufacturing and as well is cost per ton.
Mm-hmm.
So even we have to look at from, and you mentioned the difference with the sea level now is that we also get the strategy from above. Maybe the goal is to reduce the cost per ton
Yeah.
across the board. So again, we see how AI can apply. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we have a step process. What we really make sure about is that it's not a CIO commander with a big stick telling
Yeah.
everyone that they have to come up, because what happens there is that they will just give you the numbers you want to hear. We have
Mm-hmm.
a very collaborative approach.
Yeah.
We bring business in from the very beginning in workshop, hackathons, codathons.
Hmm.
We also have a look at KPIs that got missed. We
Yeah.
see, okay, why is that KPI being missed?
Hmm.
Can we meet that KPI? So, yeah.
Yeah. No, interesting, right? And over here, you said that you rely a lot on, low code, no code platforms.
Mhm.
Now, I wanna now talk from the lens of technology, right? Like, what is actually two questions collectively. What is the core tech infrastructure? What you think is critical for
Mhm.
scaling any kind of AI within the organization, right? Because
Mhm.
when you would have joined ArcelorMittal,
Mhm.
there would be an existing tech stack, right? So do
Yeah.
you have to enhance it? Do you have to kind of channelize at some places? And also,
Mhm.
let's say maybe not a Fortune 500 company, but a Fortune 2000
Mm.
company or a Fortune 5000 company, they
Mhm.
want to start making investments towards AI. What is the kind of non-negotiable tech requirement they should have to get to an enterprise AI level?
Yeah. No, look, actually, honestly, a Fortune 500 or a small company, you know,
Hmm.
you could say first bit outside of technology is all about governance
Hmm.
and compliance, right? What has
Yeah.
really changed and where we're seeing, let me say, equal footings on the field is that now with Gen AI, we have a lot of pre-trained models. They come out quite quickly,
Hmm.
but also with a lot of cloud with the hyperscalers, we can scale quickly. So I would say what we tend to do is that we tend to build a small POC,
Hmm.
using an existing model, or we might distill quite a larger model. And really, anybody can do that. You can take a
Hmm.
larger model, you can distill it down. You can get a model from Hugging Face as well. You can bring it in,
Yeah.
and then when we want to scale it out, we have like an event-driven architecture,
Yeah.
running on Kubernetes. If we
Hmm.
need real-time data, we could have Kafka. We need processing. It's like Airflow. So we use as much tools as we can to create a homogeneous architecture, but we
Hmm.
would be primarily cloud-based, to make sure that our data is secure and that we have that scalability. Because the other thing as well with AI is that we're never too sure
Hmm.
how much we need to scale. We're also never too sure if the model drifts, how much more inference we will need to train it. So really, we rely heavily on our external hyperscaler cloud partners. But for me, I'd say fundamentally, I don't want to give them too much advertisement, but probably what we
Yeah.
couldn't live without
Hmm.
would be the real-time data streaming
Yeah.
and the compute engines to train the models, and then
Hmm.
our Kubernetes for distributed computing. Really, we just couldn't, And I think what's very interesting at the moment that we're starting to do a lot of is we're putting the models on the edge. We get smaller models now; they're on the edge, they
Hmm.
capture it, but the training
Yeah.
of those models will always go back to the
Yeah.
cloud. So, yeah.
Got it. Got it. And on the standing on this kind of a tech stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about ROI measurement, right? Because this is a
Mm-hmm.
significant investment, right, from the
Sure.
tech team. Maybe it wouldn't have even been included in a 5-year plan, maybe 5 years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
suddenly,
Sure.
you got to
Mm-hmm.
start over indexing on investments what we're pushing towards AI,
Mm-hmm.
towards fine tuning small language models, or trying to distill certain models for
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
The talent is expensive in the market. The
Mm-hmm.
models themselves to run are fairly expensive,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So when business is having a conversation with the chief AI officer,
Mm-hmm.
what is the kind of true value what the AI officer unlocks, which goes much beyond the traditional cost reduction? That's my first question. And second question
Mm-hmm.
is that who are you having the most amount of coffee with? Which department is knocking on your door and saying
Yeah.
that, "Aaron, we gotta have this"?
Sure. I can answer the second one first. Like, whoever offers me free coffee, I'll be there. There's no issue with that, right? No, no, completely. So, as you said, most large companies are sort of no different. We
Hmm.
have a lot of technical debt. Maybe we weren't cloud first or certain things. Has to be
Hmm.
said that OEM data for manufacturing tends to be quite
Yeah.
localized.
Correct.
So at that time, maybe there wasn't a data center for the clouds. We couldn't put it there. So there's usually a large hub of manufacturing with that local data. Um, so that investment has to be there. What we try and do is that we very heavily focus on the business use case itself. And again, we go back to the strategy, and this ties into what you were saying about the ROI. It's not just pure ROI. If, for example, the strategy would be, okay, let's see if we can, increase revenue by X, or increase sales of X carb. So that's our green steel, which we know would have a greater impact on the orders upstream for the clients downstream. Then what we will do then is that we will take that as an entire business use case. We will evaluate it. It goes through each of the things. And then we usually then, as we said before, we try and start small and scale quickly. Right?
Correct.
Hence why, but then we often get into the issue of build versus buy.
Yeah.
Is it quicker for us to build versus buy?
Yeah.
For large scale projects, we like to keep our IP internally. But for, let's say, the issue with AI at the moment is that, if we're honest, an AI return takes usually years, but the hype takes seconds. Everyone's heard about everything else. So really, it's about balancing those small use cases with those big ones. And that's why, we're working with SuperVeti, that the ability to deploy governed agents,
correct,
allows us to start building up. And if we take the use case I was talking about earlier about, okay, having, let's say, green steel. So we're producing X-Carb. So our number one market for green steel, very popular amongst clients, data centers, car manufacturers, everything. Well, in order to prove that's green steel, there's a lot of certification that has to happen. There's an awful lot of validation. The process has to run. It's very human intensive, not just the manufacturing, but outside of that. So by having AI help with, let's say, efficiency, so the AI models can detect if the steel meets the correct grade it is, produce it, we would also then quickly deploy agents that would help us with the whole certification process, capturing the data and everything else. So we usually start off at the agentic layer first for big projects to make sure we're capturing. And that, again, is to help the humans. We have some of the world's best experts. They will know when it's green steel. We need to go after that. But if we can give them more time by reducing what they need to capture. So usually we start off at the agentic layer, we build up the budgeting, and then we move forward.
Got it. And while we were prepping up for this call, you wanted to share that process, right? I think right now would be a great time for everybody who's watching into. And thank you so much. That's very generous of you to open your playbook and evangelize what you're doing.
Yeah. Now, just to be clear to everyone on the call, it is a reduced version of our playbook for obvious reasons, right?
Yes,
but by all means, I will go through.
Yeah, but it's very well meaning, right? Because a lot of folks would be at a starting point of it, right?
Yeah, and if you are, and look, this is what we do. This is what we've done in the past. This is where some case and the whole thing. So just let me know when you can see it.
It's coming up. Yes, now we can see it.
Okay. So is that clear for everyone? Can you see okay? Or is this better mode?
Yes. You wanna go into the slideshow mode? I think that'll be better.
I thought it was in slideshow mode actually.
I suspect, but yeah, it's legible.
No, wait, I think I can go into slideshow mode on the screen. Huh? I think we probably need an agent for this.
Yes. Just talk to it. Talk to PPT.
So if I go window, share, is there a team? I can change this into slideshow mode. No, I'll share. I'll go this way.
Yeah, that was legible. We can go with that.
But if I go here if you go here, is this better?
Yeah, it's yeah.
Is that better again?
Yes.
Okay, I think this is the point I'm going to like. Just go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, ArcelorMittal, as I said, the world's leading steel manufacturer. Some of the key areas where we're pioneering is the low carbon steel trim technologies, smart carbon, X-Carb. We supply majority of the world's large manufacturing and automobile industries. And the area what we're focused on today that we're talking about that me and Encore are mentioning AMDS. Just to give a magnitude of AMDS, AMDS is built up of 300 facilities across 60 countries with 10 individual business divisions. So what we're talking about today isn't just one division looking at finance. Each of these 10 BDs have their own P&L, their own CDOs, their own CFOs, their own finances. So really, without having AI, we just couldn't scale. Right? Now, the team we have in place is a transversal team across all those business divisions. So that's why we made it different. So typical areas where we focus on, we try and have one vision. So you can see here health and safety, supply chain, HR, back office.
Sorry, Aaron, I don't think
it's not moving.
we're on the next slide. Yeah, now it is. Yeah.
Oh, right there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me see if this will work then.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is the button. Picture. Is it okay if I share it like this then?
Yeah. I can see it now.
Okay, so again, look, this is how AMDS is built up. So again, 10 business divisions, very different. Some of them you can see here are in distribution. Some of them are like SSC supplies to the automobile industry. AMI is a pure trading arm. So that's areas where we focus on. If you go here, is this is what we try and do. One vision, powering all AI divisions. So this is typical. But what we're looking for now is to have a transversal team. We go back to having that common standard and stack. That's what we're looking for here. Okay. Now, one key bit that I want to talk about, you touched a bit on earlier, Encore, is this idea of budgeting into oblivion, or death by 1,000 cuts, right? And this slide comes from Gartner because I can't show you our internal mechanism for costing, but there is a cost associated with AI. There's a lot of hype around it, but really, you need to not build 1,000 chatbots. You really need to go business focus, business process. It's the advantage of sitting at the C-suite. We look at the strategy, we look at the business model, and that's where you apply it. It's not a tool to be played around with. There is a cost associated with it, and there's a cost associated with governance and compliance. There's a responsible EU AI Act. If you're not compliant, you will be fined. So what we do to make sure that we build what needs to be done, this is a cut down version of our 7-step process. So as you can see here, in step 1, we make sure we work directly with the business to identify what should be built, these KPIs. And also now, since the introduce of what we would call maybe an agentic AI workforce, since the use of multiple agents, we can handle multiple workflows, we've now started to work with each of the hiring managers to say, okay, look, are you hiring a new employee? What's that employee doing? Can we decompose that role? Can we have a look? And I would say to anyone on this call, one exercise we do with our CEOs is that take a look at your business. Imagine you had to recreate that business again today.
Yeah.
And then say to yourself, where would you put a human and where would you put agentic AI? Right? And really, that's the thing. And then we run through each of these processes, right? Important to us is step 1 to 4 is done directly with the business. We try and POC quickly. And for that, hence why we need the right standards and platform. We use Supervetti a lot in this approach here because it allows us to quickly show the business where it is. Then we make a valid business use case, and then we get a go, no go. Now, steps 5, 6, and 7, we move to a different team that industrializes it. And what that team work off, this is a bit of an insight into them, they work off what we call a factory. So as you can see here, they get the prioritized use cases, but again, it's built off standards. Once we have standardization and clear authorization. And just one thing that has been quite a good success in Arcelor that actually was a bit surprised to start. So we started off by saying we never leave a use case behind, right? So as you can see here, not everything can go through. Some gets deprioritized.
Yeah.
What we try and do with stuff that's deprioritized is move it to our citizen developer.
Oh, nice.
So you can see here, this is in German. This was the team in Germany, and they built a few bots. And in order not to have any issues about picking certain technologies, this is a very generic slide about low-code, no-code platform. But there is, in order to have everyone involved, you can do that. And then some of those small projects, like we have this one with this chatbot, the Copilot, this actually went on to inspire other business divisions in our area that actually went in to build much bigger, more complex solutions. And at that point, we just moved back to this step and we move it back in as well. And just, I'd say, last two slides to finish on. When you mentioned earlier, what type of technology and what type of landscape do we make up with?
Yeah.
We're manufacturing. We're SAP at the core.
Mm-hmm.
We've no plans to move away from SAP. I would say having a clean core is important, but we need to be agile at the edge. And this is where we see the advantage of agentic. But you can't build an agent everywhere without any governance. And this is why we need that governance platform, the agent lifecycle management. And also, when you look here, we have what we call our agent pods. These are our blueprints: accounts payable, sales, how we handle protocols. And the idea there is, you talked about ROI earlier.
Yeah.
We don't need to reinvent each time. We maybe need to customize an existing model, customize a prompt, add different data. We try not to reinvent. But in order not to reinvent, we need a catalog. We have a catalog of models, we have a catalog of data, and now we need a catalog of agents. We need to treat them like employees.
Yeah.
And a key bit, I would say, for anyone, why, when, again, moving away from technology back to strategy, any CIOs out there or CEOs looking, or even CIOs that have joined the call, who work in manufacturing, or even, there's a lot of tariffs going around at the moment.
Yeah, we know it the best right now over here.
Yeah, right. Industries are very cyclical. Anyone from Holcim is on this call. Cement is extremely cyclical. Steel is extremely cyclical. And what does that mean is that we need a high level of employees at certain moments. If you take the cement for example, during the winter time, we tend to slow down. We don't really produce that much cement. I know in the aviation industry, sometimes the month of August, they slow down their manufacturing for vacation. But we have to hire full-time employees all through our cycle, which in this time of high tariffs and volatile markets, it makes it very hard for us to calculate the exact, we have too high of a cost per ton, for example.
Yeah.
What we're doing at the moment is looking at that workforce on demand. And as you see here, again, we have a human in the loop. And the very last one, the multi-agent for AOR, for example. But say we have an invoice agent. Okay, now people will go on vacation in the month of August, right? And everyone's entitled to vacation. But say we've got a brand new client, a big order, a large amount of invoice to be processing. Well, that gets slowed down in the month of August. When that team comes back in September, there's a buildup of payments. And it just, you carry that through to December. And you keep on carrying through. Whereas what we could do is that we could enable more agents. And then what we could also do, if the cost is running too high for us, we just simply shut the agents down.
Yeah. No,
I think that's an extract of how we handle from the strategy to deliverables to make sure.
Yeah. No, I think this last slide is brilliant, right? And I'm also seeing that for the first time. Having worked in manufacturing, starting my career in manufacturing, this is super relatable, right? Irrespective, you're selling cement, or you're selling steel, you're selling oxygen, nitrogen, across the spectrum, right? And by the time December comes in, while you're all clearing your August overdue payments, there's New Year, there's New Year planning. Suddenly, the new quarter rises. So it's just coming in from everywhere.
And also a bit, you're saying we go back to the human factor. People then are under stress. And also it's very hard to get a new hire. You're going to say, okay, so we have a large backlog, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go to get a new hire. It's outside the hiring cycle. It could take 3 months. Maybe then they give you an intern, but then that intern has to be trained up. Does it really speed you up? And we see this across all 10 of our business divisions, all across Arcelor. And the idea is that we have a human supervisor here. Just to be clear about that, there's a human in the loop, that quality human, but we're making sure that human is just not spending their time on working on the backlog, mundane tasks that can be done. The agent will work for them. And the other bit as well is that business now has gone 24/7. We do business
Yeah.
globally. We no longer, if someone wants if someone sends in, for example, some type of a request or looking at how much to see if they can have a contract or a project, we have
Yeah.
an excellent projects team. That project team, the quicker they can react to the client, the better chance they have. That reaction could be a simple email saying, "Hey, I got your
Yeah.
email. We're checking. Going." But no communication,
Yeah.
you're dead. And then the other person that comes in, the
Yeah.
expert in the projects, has to say, "Oh, they're being chased and everything else." So really, uh, similar to cloud computing, we see agents in the same way. Cloud
Yeah.
we can scale up and scale down. Agents we can scale them
Just
up and
beyond
scale
scale.
them down as we need through our cyclic process.
Yeah. That comes to my last segment, Aaron, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
contrary to cloud computing, AI scares people, right? Uh, so within Arcelor, right? Because there are currently people who are doing mundane jobs across the world, right? In
Mm-hmm.
companies of all sizes,
Mm-hmm.
and every time they open a newspaper or every time they open a
Yeah.
news app, they
Yeah.
see something which makes them worry about their job, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I wanna ask, right? Is it really a hanging sword on jobs like them?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's again cyclical in nature? And secondly is, how are you from a change management perspective
Mm-hmm.
evangelizing? Because you can put the best tech out there, and tech is only as good as
Mm-hmm.
people are able to adopt it. So is there any page from your playbook what you can share about how you're getting people more comfortable towards not only using AI agents, but be very comfortable towards having an AI
Adoption.
employee
Yeah.
as a colleague?
Sure. Sure. Look. You can probably tell from my lack of hair. Look, I was around when we started the automation in UBS, and it was the same concerns back then. It was RPA automation. My job will be replaced, and go. The truth is that we have such highly skilled staff. Jobs will evolve. Everything evolves. The technology goes fast, so then you adopt that the whole technology as it comes in. And a good example. Oh, I think I do my good. A good example as well. I think about is that when I was a kid, the job of a drone pilot didn't exist. Right. Nowadays we have that job of a drone pilot. Right. Um, you get that example, a very famous example about banks and bank tellers. When the ATM came in, they said, "Oh, there'll be no more bank tellers." Maybe there isn't. Their role has evolved, but banks still have the same number of people. Two highly automated companies are Amazon and Google. But they still have high staff. Um, I think what has happened is honestly with the whole ChatGPT. I've worked in AI for years, and my children never asked me what I did. And then one day, my son said, "Dad, you work with AI?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he kind of knew, and he goes, "Did you build ChatGPT?" And I was like, "No." So he was disappointed again. But and same way, I'm CIO reporting to a CEO. The cloud didn't have that much attention. Yet it probably changed more jobs, and RPA probably impacted more jobs than AI. What AI will help to do is to redesign. And what I would say is that the quicker you embrace that technology, the more value you will get out of it. What we do, so what we try and do when you talk, your second question is all about trust. How do you build trust? You know, trust takes years to build, seconds to lose, we say. So as you've seen from our process, we involve the business immediately. We also try and look at KPIs. We try and look at what's mundane tasks. We try and look at backlogs. We try and look at areas where people need assistance, and then we slowly integrate the AI into technology. But we also have in Arcelor an excellent AI ambassador program, where in each of the business divisions we have a selected person. We have some brilliant AI ambassadors, and what they will do is they will listen, they will find, and bit by bit they will show people. They listen to their problems, and that's the human aspect. You have to understand where the pain points are. So you got two levels. From the strategy, we're trying to align AI as the backbone of the business model. But in order to get cultural adoption, we also need to start using AI to help everyone's problems, on their day-to-day tasks. Change management, we do that through our AI ambassador programs. We do that through transparency, top to bottom. We try and keep it as transparent as possible. We do that through ensuring people that their data will not be used, data governance, data policies. And then we also do it by identifying people as part of our AI ambassador program who's excited by AI. And honestly, I believe if you have a passion, that passion gets pushed on to others, and then once we have that ball rolling, then people will come along. But you will always have skeptics. Will always have, there will be people that get left behind. But we do offer a very comprehensive learning portal set up by the ArcelorMittal University Academy, and if anyone wanted to get involved in AI, had an idea, they can directly come to the CIO office, they can submit it, and we will try and make it happen for them.
Yeah. I just feel like I should be working right now at ArcelorMittal because
anytime. I don't know if DJ's on the call, but yeah.
No, but this is brilliant, right? Like I want to end on the last note of is governance. Of course, we talked about it in your presentation, but just a couple of questions over there before maybe we can spin up some demo about how
Sure.
an AI employee command center looks like. But just to conclude on that, I think guardrails and governance, right? And they're on everybody's mind. It's such an evolving space that everybody's trying to take a stab at it about what should be
Sure.
the governance, and at a company level, what should the guardrails be, right? And the old saying goes that you first innovate and then you regulate, right? And I think it's the same case over here, because your smartest AI engineers are running at light speed, and then the regulators within the organization may be chasing them that, hey, this is what we can do, this is a little bit which goes above and beyond of what we should be doing. So internally, do you have stakeholders which look into that? Is that you as well, who's also determining where are we limiting AI, what are the kind of guardrails we're putting within processes, what is the degree of autonomy we can allow AI to have it, right? Considering that at the same time, I'm managing product at an AI company, but I know that it's still early days, right? So how do you determine that, if you're determining that?
Yeah, so look, we have very comprehensive internal responsible AI policies, but I would say where we have across the industry now, we have maybe a lack of maturity on the generative AI and AI responsive policies. We all have maturity on our data policies, and we all know AI is built off data, so data policies for us is the foundation. Even when we build agents, we classify the agents by the sensitivity of data that they collect. So we can have a HR agent, for example, or that maybe just responds to emails or schedules the interview task. That's okay. But the HR agent that's going to read CVs, that could have CID, customer data, PII, will be classified and go through totally different set of processes. So for what we do, step one, we define the agents and their boundaries. We talk about agents this way, okay? Right. So what they can do, we keep a human in the loop to begin with, always. You'll show later one of your workflows that we can have the human in the loop to begin with. And then when we build up confidence, when we see that the success rate is improving, then we can then remove it. And then we have established ethical review boards. And then we also have model documentation. We have a data catalog. From a CIO office, ideally, I'd love to run it all, but then it'd be like a student marking their own homework, if I'm honest, right? So we don't. We have a much bigger board, a digital council, that keep me in check. Otherwise, we will all run it. And then, most importantly, transparency, audit trails, compliance. How did we come to that conclusion? How did the model? When I worked in banking for years, which it's a bit the opposite. It's compliancy first, and then we come up to that compliance. And we do the same thing. We're not looking we're looking to move fast, but fast in the right direction. For example, I go back to manufacturing. If we can produce, a higher grade of steel, a lighter grade of steel, if we just use pure AI to do it and we didn't know how that came about, we could never
Yeah.
reproduce it. So that
Yep.
transparency, those guardrails, or that we just use AI just to accelerate us and to make sure that when it gets applied, that there's no bias, there's
Yeah.
fairness in it, and then it's applied. But the data, honestly, anyone's on this call, I would work from your data policies, backwards, and then apply the AI on top of it. If the data is classified data, it's PII, then the agents have to follow the same. And then for the agents, as you know, we use role-based access, so we treat
Yeah.
them just like humans. You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
if we terminate, if we actually, and you can show this later in your thing, that because there's a cost associated with an agent, same way there's a cost associated with a human. If the ROI is not there, we will check
Say
how
bye-bye.
often the agents run, and then we will terminate the agent. But when we do that, we have to make sure the access that they get.
Yeah. Yeah. No, perfect. So, I wanna end with a note to even show you maybe a demo which you might not have seen as well.
Oh,
It's
good.
our it's our new command center. Every time I'm
Oh.
gonna uh, I think we have a pact, Aaron. Every
Yeah,
time I'm gonna do a demo, I'm gonna show you
you're
something
gonna
new.
call me. Okay. Yeah.
So this is a command center. This is
Mhm.
as I think in your slide also you mentioned, right, how can we go across business processes. The ones which you need the most are usual suspects: your accounts payable, your
Mhm.
accounts receivable. You mentioned sales as well. These are HR as well, right? Wherever there is high degree of manual effort. So I'm going to show you a small little command center, and I want to end it with that about how policies and guardrails can be set
Yeah.
for an AI
Mhm.
employee, and how
Mhm.
again it needs to be, because you're talking to an AI. De facto, I believe that it needs to be conversational, right? It doesn't have
Mhm.
to be programmed, but it has to be conversational.
Mhm.
The other interesting thing is that how you drew a parallel between that, hey, you have to retire a human, you have to really keep a human in check, explicitly talk about what are their
Mhm.
KPIs, and is it being performed. Similarly, I think that responsibility we need to show towards AI employees, AI
Agreed.
agents,
Yeah.
that this is the KPI of the
Mhm.
AI agents. If it is not able to achieve it, then
Mhm.
then it's a shiny toy and
Yeah.
nothing else, right?
Exactly. Agree. Yeah.
Let me just spin our AP command center. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Just loading. Yeah, I can see it now. Thank you.
Right. So I don't think you've seen this, Aaron. Have you?
No, not yet. I like this. It's just it's like a live surprise, isn't
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why I was saying that.
it?
Let me show you something interesting. So this is one of the biggest challenges for AP teams is a three-way matching, right? They want
Oh,
to make sure that their purchase order, their invoice, and their goods received notes, they're all being matched, right? So over here, I've just loaded a bunch of real-time invoices. I'm able to quickly sync it up with SAP. I'm able to pull it out from SAP. I can just sync the
mhm,
validation data. I can sync the invoice data. I've already done it and kept it. And over here, what happens is I'm able to see which are my invoices, which needs review, which are the
mhm.
ones which are pending response. Thankfully, my jobs over here is done. There is no pending response clear. QA approval, how many of them were
Mhm,
rejected? So a couple of them were rejected, and how many of them were matched, right? So maybe
mhm,
let's just go through all these ones. Let's say I look at
mhm,
this one. I go to the resolution bench, and I'm exactly come to know, again, in a very simple way, I'm able to capture what is the invoice vendor
yeah,
name. I
yeah,
can easily see the PO, has it been matched, the GRN.
mhm,
I'm also able to trace the whole audit log, what we're talking about, right?
mhm.
That at every step, what
Exactly.
did the
Yeah.
AI do? Is there
Mhm,
is there transparency? I'm
mhm,
also able to generate some kind of a score, right? Like I match the
mhm.
PO
Oh,
item, my
brilliant.
first
Yeah.
match. I'm saying that the score is 96, and I'm also able to go ahead and determine a workflow audit. Right now, there's no audit history because this is matched, but maybe we go to invoice which is, let's say, pending. Right? Let's see. I was looking at one. Let's say Alloy International. Right? It needs review. It was 24th, and if I go over here, I'm able to see that, what is the invoice, what is the GRN, and I know that over here the quantity, the invoice quantity is 15, which is the outside
Ah,
of a
brilliant.
tolerance total
Yeah.
of 10, right? So either I can approve, I can reject it, I can also get conversational with it, right? So I can say
Ah,
that,
cool. Yeah.
can you tell me about this invoice, right? And it tells me that it currently is in needs review where the invoice quantity was more. I'm like, hey, you know what, I've done business with Alloy Steel International. I'll just say cool, let's approve it, right? So again, action was completed. I'm able to go ahead and see that this has been approved, and I think this invoice requires manual review, which is great. And well, there is a missing document which I'll have to go ahead and check. But the point being is that I can really visualize every resolution on what I
Yeah.
need to do with
Completely.
my work, and I can set policies over here, right? These are my guardrails. Like, what are my automation rules, right? Should I auto approve any small value invoices, right? Should
Oh,
it be
that's
assigned
really cool. Actually.
kind of vendors, right? Is there any kind of SLA policies? I think there are kind of vendor policies. What I want to go ahead and put. Let's say Ion Core, my price tolerance is 5, and exception rate is 100%. What all should the AI look at while it is extracting? And as we said, that RBAC. What are the kind of access controls we go ahead and start giving our users? So this is the way we are trying to
Yeah.
visualize what's the future of an AI employee. It will have a command center which looks something like this. It has a resolution workbench so that there's enough human supervision to know that what exactly is happening under the hood. It's also able to go ahead and talk with me, like it's able to go ahead give me
Sure.
AI
Yeah.
insights, and then everything what we build becomes under the hood, right? Your operator agents, which are doing endpoint execution, single task execution work. So yeah, this is a quick small little demo which I wanted to show you and everybody
Yeah.
who's listening about. I think this is how the command center going forward for every AI employee would look like. So would love to firstly have your thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely brilliant. And when we take it back to, okay, how do we build trust? How do we get, you were talking about earlier, how do we get people involved?
Yeah.
Well, really, if we have to clear our minds around not thinking about RPA. Again, we go back to thinking, okay, AI as an agent close to an
Yeah.
employee.
Yeah.
You have to think of the AI agent. This is their first day in the new job. We all start off in a new job.
Yeah.
Your first job is to check the invoices. Hard job.
Yeah.
You're always going to have a supervisor, and until that person trusts you to get through it, then you're never gonna. It's going to take you too long. Whereas imagine this was we take this. Imagine there was just a straight human process. Well, the person comes back and he says, "Oh, by the way, I've completed all invoices. Everything's good." But if you don't
Yeah.
know them on core, you're going to go back and recheck everything. So having this type of, let's say, transparency can only
Yeah.
build the trust, but also you will, and I'm sure that you'll learn over time.
Yeah.
It's a very easy use case that can be replicated to vacation, a very easy use case that can replication to travel, because we
Yeah.
all have policies. We put those
Correct.
policies in.
Yeah.
Very easy to adapt this use case that when they're
Yeah.
happy, the humans, that the checks have been completed at above 90%, they
Yeah.
send an email back to the
Mm.
supplier saying, "Hey, this invoice looks wrong."
Yeah.
And again, and if you didn't have this AI in place or this
Correct.
type of we take the same scenario we talked about earlier. Okay,
Yeah.
so someone's on vacation for 3 weeks. right? It's
Yeah.
Europe, and end of August, Europe just empties, right? They come back. So first of all, they're back from vacation. No one really
Yeah.
likes that back vacation.
Yeah.
How
They're
many
gonna
of
see
these
all of
invoices
you. Yeah.
were mismatched and redirect? They got to go back through all these and check them and everything else. They can easily see, okay, this is why this happens. This is
Correct.
it's huge. I think having that transparency is
Yeah.
the next step, and it's one of the reasons why look, we can all go to different agentic platforms. We can even create agents natively. But
Yeah.
if you don't have governance and
Yes.
transparency within a platform,
Yeah.
it's too hard. You got to build it in yourself. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. No, I'm glad. And firstly, I think we're at the end of our time. And as always, Aaron, it's a delight having a conversation with you. I really look forward to our next conversation. Hopefully, again in person over
Yeah.
some hot chicken wings again. And yeah, I think you're also off for a vacation. So I wish you all
Thank
the
you
safety and
very much.
health. And
Yeah.
have a lovely time out with your family.
Yeah, and same to you, Encore. I really appreciate that time in Dallas.
Yes.
Showing me everything. So and I said, look, why companies so big as Arcelor is interested in Supervetti, and it just helps us to move fast, the velocity, and also
Yeah.
what you showed us today is I remember having that conversation with you in Dallas. Where's the
Yes.
transparency? Where's the
Yeah.
bit? So it's that agility we get from this back and forward exchanges. So highly appreciate it from our side.
Yeah. No, I think it's a team effort to challenge what's possible.
Mhm.
And yesterday only I was talking to one of my engineers and I was vibe coding a solution and I just told him, what era are we living in? This is yeah, I couldn't consume how fast and easy it has been. So
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much
Cool.
again for
Thank you very
taking up
much.
the time and talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. And don't hesitate to contact me, reach out on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, anything.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Perfect.
Cheers, bye.
Thank you.